Hey guys, this is Tom Hanks. Welcome to another stream. Today, I actually got a lot of new cars to review again. You guys have been sending in quite a lot. Um, but yeah, I'm obviously going to be pretty happy to check all of them out and see what's going on. Um, yeah, I'm going to be looking forward to doing that. Also, what I'm really looking forward to is, as I've mentioned yesterday, perhaps, maybe, Um, next week I might already be streaming from a new rig. The GPU is going to be the same as before, a GTX 970, because it can actually play Forza Horizon 4 with no problems, still surprisingly. But the CPU is gonna be an AMD Ryzen 7 2700X. It's gonna be 32 gigs of RAM. It's gonna. Hey, Dr. Love, how's it going? And yeah, that like all of those components should arrive sometime next week. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. The next big upgrade is gonna be a new GPU at some point, but I'd have to see, I'd have to see, you know, when I really need a new GPU and what's gonna be good. Hey, Finnish gamer, how's it going? Two commercials. Tom's gonna be rich. What? Two commercials? Did Twitch actually run a commercial while I had the starting soon screen up? Let's delete some Hearthstone ads. Ah, okay. Let's delete cars from yesterday, because otherwise it like. Here's the thing: my list of cars in the sandbox is already very cluttered. It's gonna be even more cluttered if if I don't delete all those things. First up, because this is in alphabetical order, is gonna be the M5 E60, which was sent in by that carpenter guy. Uh, Good job. One thing I want to like, this is also a very similar color to what my 530D was, so I like that. The headlights are a little different though on the real E60, and I know, I know, it's a reasonable approximation, but I've owned one of these, and well, not an M5, but a 530D, of course. And the headlight shape is a little bit different. Like it's more, it's pointier this way. But you know, it's close enough, I guess. The taillights are pretty close to the real thing. Overall, solid job, of course. It's because of the shape of the car. Probably, yeah. Hey there, Carlo, how's it going? Also, hey to everyone else whose name I haven't shouted out yet, I'm sorry. Thanks everyone for tuning in, man. Anyway, this is a turbocharged version of the 5-liter V10. I saw in the menu that apparently this is supposed to be a naturally aspirated engine, but it isn't. Doesn't BMW also use McPherson front-end multi-link suspension? Yes. Yes, they do. So that is something we would have to change. I think there is something wrong. You may have just forgotten to make a clone because there's no second version of the engine. You may have just forgot to clone the naturally aspirated one before you turbocharge it. So did you get the right link? Yeah, like I can go back to the both of them have the exact same engine. Yep, too much turbo lag is what I was gonna say about that engine as well. Like, the turbo just kicks in way too late. There's no torque below like 3000 RPM. Oh, okay. That sucks. But see you right back, James. I don't think the bore and stroke ratio are correct on this one. Pretty sure I'm pretty sure it's not actually 4999 cc. It's like 4992, I believe, 91. Anyway. That's me being nitpicky, of course, but turbocharged one was just a test version. I'm gonna be interested to see how this drives, though. It does have quite a lot of roll angle for an M5 as well. I mean, yeah, this is the turbocharged version, so it's heavier, but still, like, I don't know. It's $49.99. I took it from a BeamNG website. Okay. I mean, I usually go with Wikipedia on this one, but so this is like exactly the same, isn't it? Yeah, this is exactly the same, so no need to export it twice. Yes. Yeah, you did a great job on the fixtures. It's 92 by 75.2 is the bore and stroke ratio. The engine is the exact same, and you know how I can tell you is that both engine names are exactly the same, and there's only one version in the family. There's no second variant of it, so I know it's going to be the same. Brace yourself. Dear Rari, it's got an inline-3 from what I could tell. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious, dude. Like, you submitted this early, man. Like, you're back just in time, James. We're looking at a 700 horsepower lawnmower. You submitted this early, man. The next challenge is gonna be a drag race for lawnmowers, and now everyone gets to see your car before the challenge starts. um, well, it's going to break in Beam, yeah, most likely, but my goodness. Yeah, 0 to 100, 2.3. I guess it'll be faster in Beam. Pretty sure. 700, mine had 200 something and was uncontrollable. Yeah, this is... If this puts down the power at all in Beam, then it's gonna fly, man. This might like actually take off upon launch in BeamNG. Like, let's take a look at the engine though. It's actually not that bad with the turbo lag. Sure, the turbo kicks in hard at 4,500 RPM, but it does rev to 9,000, so there's plenty of RPM range for where the turbo is active. And with that, the engine tune is actually pretty damn good. And also 300 horsepower per liter, roughly, once again. So, again, very, very impressive on that. Too much downforce for drag. It needs it, though. Like, if you're not gonna have any... If you're not gonna have any downforce on 700 horsepower in a freaking lawnmower, then it's... How are you gonna put all that power to the ground? Hey Mario, how's it going? We just looked at the 700 horsepower lawnmower. God damn. Okay. Well, not more downforce than your actual weight. I mean, then again, you almost have as much horsepower as the weight is, so... I see what you did there. This is like a sort of M3-esque looking car. It's not an exact replica. But it does have the S54B32, which is of course the engine that made it into the M3E46. It's not tuned the same way though. Because I know that the S54B32 actually had 365 Newton meters. I know that by heart, by the way. I don't remember exactly at what RPM, but let's check it out. 4 was 87 millimeters. Stroke, yep, 91. That's correct. This was my thing for. Okay, I see. See, I was gonna. I also wanna do a BMW engine for my car that I'm gonna submit to his challenge. But I was more thinking of the M62B44 engine, the one that was in the E39 540i, the 4.4 liter V8. This doesn't drift, and I can tell you why. Is it doesn't have like any torque. You gotta consider that with it being four-wheel drive, it's much harder to get the rear wheels spinning because you are also like two reasons. One, you're obviously also sending some power to the front wheels, and two, you do have two drive shafts, so there is more drivetrain loss, and when you're not making much torque to begin with, then that effect is obviously going to be even more noticeable. Also, the power distribution needs to be, like, you need to send at least 80% to the front wheels. So that is another thing. that he added to the rules. That river drive with crazy camber and suspension, it worked, but Shaw can't drift for shit. I mean, drifting is difficult in Beam. I'm gonna admit it. Like, I'm not gonna judge him for his drifting skills in Beam, because who am I to who am I to judge him for that, right? You've seen me trying to do it as well and failing miserably, so I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna criticize him for anything when it comes to that. Yeah, how's this doing in the market? It's decent. It's too expensive though. Can't cost more than 20 grand. For his challenge anyway. Drifting isn't hard in Beam, you just need a V8. See, for the nonsense rules and him being mean to his viewers, I'm not gonna send it. Ah, I see. See, it's not as easy as, it's not that easy to, you know, just put a V8 in there. You gotta, like, you gotta set up the car right for drifting as well. Like, sure, you gotta make it easy for the rear end to step out, but without the car actually becoming uncontrollable, because, you know, more oversteer is only good until a certain point, and that takes a lot of tuning to get it just right. I feel like the car has admitted that they can drift, but it's terrifying. We're gonna be seeing it in a moment, I think. The GEMMESC. That was by Mr. Johnny. Okay, now that's a hypercar. All-wheel drive, 1124 horsepower from a 9-liter twin-turbo V10. Now this thing has a lot of weight over the rear axle, and look, there's still a lot of space for wider tires, both on the front and on the rear actually. And the rear tires are already 345s. That's a lot of torque, but like, I feel like you could make this sort of power and torque from a less capacity, which would help with making the engine lighter, and that would help with the engine balance, of course. Not engine balance, the car's weight balance, I guess. Let's go 3 times in a row. Now you should have the right grower. Okay. What do you guys think of the looks of this thing? A little simplistic, not very like 2020-esque, in my opinion. Also, where are the exhausts? It needs a spoiler, yeah. Very simple, yeah. Seven-speed dual clutch. Electric diff. It'll reach 381 kilometers an hour, which is impressive. I do also feel like the 0 to 100 time is going to be faster in Beam than it is here. Six-piston carbon ceramic brakes front and rear. They're larger than they need to be on both ends, so probably downsize those a little bit to save some more weight. One seat only, and yet it still weighs 1648.7 kilograms. That's because of the massive engine, of course. Minus 15 quality in here. I don't really get that decision. Back to Sport Springs. It will understeer a lot. Yeah, we'll see. It might. But it does send the majority of the power to the rear end. So you can probably neutralize the understeer. This production units money and weight. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does, but at the same time, it's a full carbon fiber supercar with a twin turbo V10 engine and all-wheel drive. So it's not gonna be cheap either way. And I feel like the -15 quality in the driver aid section definitely hurts the drivability of the car, especially like mostly I would say in terms of automation stats, it might not affect the BeamNG driving behavior too much, but definitely the stats and automation are hurting because of that. The GEM VW GTI, also by Mr. Johnny. Hey, lot of fan. 90 V10 I feel should make more power. Yeah, I feel like that too. Like this is again a very simple design with a 2-liter turbo inline 4, 156 horsepower. Yeah, the turbo is coming in a little bit later than I would like, but it's not too bad. Just an A should make that sort of power. Yeah. YW 201 body with front wheel drive? I don't know. We got a 4-speed manual, a geared limited slip diff. It's actually reasonably quick. 7 seconds 0 to 100 is not bad at all for the front wheel drive sedan like this. 205mm tires all around. Yep, headlights are too modern as well. I agree with that. Rims are also too huge. Yeah, what? 18-inch? Damn. Yeah. Yeah, that's way too large. And yeah, the brakes are good. For seats, basic interior and entertainment. Standard safety. Standard springs and gas monotube dampers. Easy on his solid it isn't the road. To be fair, we don't know how long this player has owned the game. We've all been at this point. Yeah, that's true. Like, I feel like this area is just a huge open and empty area where you could at the very least add like a number plate and maybe some fog lights, right? That would add a lot of that would add a lot of character already. I mean, I like these and the little thingies here for the windshield washer fluid, whatever it's called. Fog lights, license plates, and lower trim details. Yeah, I mean, based on the designs of this and the last car, we gotta assume that this is more one of the more newer players, and obviously I welcome everyone to check the game out, and I'm happy that the community is growing. It's just you know, start with the easy bits, right? You can add more and more details as you go on. Like a number plate and some fog lights is you know, pretty easy to do, right? Like getting the details and the trimmings right is something that takes a little bit more time, and I can understand why, you know, you wouldn't want to do it from the very start. It's the best stage of the gameplay. After a bit of getting good at automation, you start spending 3 to 5 hours for each car. Yeah. 3 to 5 hours on the front alone. I've been there. I'm not at that point anymore. I've had a phase where I did that as well. There's the IMP van. Let's see who that was by. That was by Random 41 actually. Yep. The S85P50 engine took me a week to make. My laptop ain't the best, so I take a lot of... Yeah. I've been there too with an old laptop playing automation. It was really slow. Because of... Okay. This car... I'm not the biggest fan of the combination of this grille with these headlights on this body, but it's okay. The rear end is rather simple, but it's a delivery van, I would assume. So, you know, no fancy design needed for this one. The worst is when you try like 10 different designs and you end up deleting all of them. Yep, exactly. Finally finished the car, was proud of myself, and then it doesn't show up. Love this van, but the badge would be nice. Yeah, look at the right side. IMP deliveries, yep. So it is in fact a delivery van. With a 3.4 liter V6 making 182 horsepower. Adequate engine, I would say. More than adequate. We got VVT on this bad boy as well. Multiple injection, very lean. 91 octane fuel. +7 quality actually. And +2 here, that's okay. No first muffler and then the reverse flow muffler, okay. We get a 6-speed manual. See, I think this should have an automatic. Because this is the sort of car that would either be used for, you know, a carrier, like for UPS or DHL or something along those lines, or it could also be used for like furniture stores, for like IKEA and whatnot. And I feel like it should. I feel like for that reason, and you know, just because it's easier to drive, I think this should have an automatic. Open diff, rear drive, hard long life road tires, obviously very, very wide tires. See, I've driven some of those delivery vans from like IKEA or other furniture stores, you know, occasionally when I needed something, and they always had like really skinny tires, like 195s on such a gigantic and tall vehicle. It made the whole car feel very unstable. And with bigger tires like this, obviously that's going to be much better. But at the same time, it's not really what people would put on these things in real life. But I can understand. I can totally understand why it's a good choice. But at the same time, Dodge tires are for weight, I think. Yeah. So we got 32.9% brake fade on the utility category, huh? Yeah, we do. Semi-Canet under tray. All the downforce. Because of course it does have a front lip. And a rear little spoiler. Well hidden. Yeah, small tires give you better economy and low replacement costs. Yep, but also since those things usually don't have traction control because they're like from the late 80s or 90s here, the risk of having an accident is much higher due to the undersized tires. It's got a bench on the front. Not crashing and more payload yields more profit, exactly. We got standard interior and standard CD player, electric power steering, ESC, advanced safety, aggressive springs, gas mounted dampers, passive sway bars, and it's as tall as it can be. It's very good for heavy delivery. It's actually not too bad on the fuel economy as well. Yeah, it should be a pretty good van. It's a plus model, that's why the suspension is more fancy. Okay. Here they all drive the new stuff, crafters, sprinters. Yeah. Occasionally they have them here as well, but like, does the company renting the van care? No, because at least here in the States, you signed about a dozen papers claiming you're fully responsible for any accident or damage occurred while vehicle is in your possession. Yeah, we're talking for like furniture store, like when basically if you buy some large furniture at like IKEA or whatever, you can rent a car. So that you can drive your own furniture home. And those delivery cars are usually like really old here. Well, not really. They're not from the 50s or 60s, but they're from like 90s, from the 90s most of the time. Only in the States you're using a vehicle like this generally is something like F450 plus your rent. Okay. Something like a U-Haul. This, by the way, looks very good. This, I like the color. I like the front end on this Lebelge Automne. The exhaust is maybe takes a little bit to get used to, but apart from that, I really like this design. Well done. It's got a 2.7 liter inline-4 with 170 horsepower. Looks pretty good. It's got very fancy components in there. Company's demands cut some corners so profit is higher, so the eco can get a new yacht. So the CEO can get a new yacht. Yeah. CEO doesn't get that much. First time you have to go up a driveway on a hill or a pot. Yeah, you lose that exhaust. Exactly. Yeah, 4-barrel single carburetor, no mufflers. Okay, so this thing is probably gonna be loud. Not crazy loud, actually. 4-speed manual. 185mm up front, 180 on the rear. Drum brakes in the back and solid discs on the front. No under tray. 5 seats. Standard interior, basic entertainment. Hydraulic power steering, advanced 60 safe. Advanced safety? Doesn't really make any sense in this combination here, but okay. Progressive springs, gas mounted dampers. It does pretty well in family sport here, I have to say. Let's see what this is actually about. Overpowered 60s car, that's fun. Okay. So that's what this is supposed to be. Like, here's the thing, some decisions don't add up to me. If this is a sports car, why does it have advanced safety, right? You would go for like standard safety to save some weight. And, you know, take out at least one of the rear seats. So that you only have 4, because this isn't the largest of cars anyway. So you'd have a hard time actually fitting 5 people into it. Yeah, 9 viewers. We've been here before. Family sport. I can understand it, you know, but comfort would be better with 4 seats. Let's see how much this actually changes the family sport score. Okay, let's see. It went up by a little bit by removing 1 seat. Remember that Cadillac boat sports car? Hey people, hey Lofted Club 2, how's it going? Anyway, I do really like the look of this car, so I'm looking forward to driving it in Beam. Who else has Gag? I don't. It is not that many at the bench. Yeah. America had benches, yeah, indeed. I have really only Twitter, and it's pretty much all my social media coverage. Next up is the LaBelge Laurent Deville, I guess. Reddit, I think, is random 41, okay. I don't use it. Okay, this looks like a very classic 80s design. I like it. I like the green too, that reminds me of one of the greens that I use in like 80s or 90s cars. Yeah. Good design. It's got a 1.5 liter inline-4, 111 horsepower, which is totally fine. Ah, it's actually turbocharged. And wait, did I not put this one earlier? I like this engine tune. Like it's, you could probably cut the power at like 6400 RPM, because you're really not gaining anything from revving it even higher. It's got 2 reverse flow mufflers, so this is going to be very quiet. This is, let's see. First car made for the game, 87. Cheapish car that that has sport on it, but that's about it. Okay. It's just a 1500cc engine with 87 turbo tech. Yeah, yeah. It's good. But you could probably cut off the rev band a little bit earlier. I feel like it's only hurting the reliability at that point. 4-speed manual, rear-wheel drive, geared limited slip diff. Got 2 20mm hard long life road tires on the front, 2 30s on the rear. 16-inch rims is a little large for the time, I think. Especially for what is essentially like an eco car, because this is not a sports car. Auto? Oh yeah, advanced auto, sorry. Yeah. The reason I go that high on the revving is to give myself a bit of time to shift. I mean, that's fair. We've got solid disc brakes all around. And no under tray, standard interior basic entertainment. Variable hydraulic power steering and ABS, and standard 70 safety. Progressive springs, and overall. So this is more like an eco car with a nice automatic gearbox. It should be reasonably economical. For the time, it really is. Like for 87, 11 liters for 111 horsepower is not that bad. It really isn't. Can you shift with a controller in Beam with an advanced auto? I know you can choose between like normal, automatic, and sport mode, but I don't think you can like actually shift between the gears. At least not with a controller. Maybe with a wheel you probably can, but sport, yeah, 2 and 1, yeah. That's what I meant. But it has more than 2 gears. That's the problem I'm getting at. Which allow you to hold those gears and shift up when you want. Yeah, okay, but at the same time, like, it's not like a sequential dual clutch where you have well, basically the sequential doesn't have an automatic mode, but The dual clutch has like an auto, sport, or sport mode, and then also manual mode where you can shift between gears. The advanced auto doesn't have that. Next up is the Lebelch VDB, which has a 2.2 liter turbocharged inline-4 with 115 horsepower. That's fairly low. That's a fairly low output for a 2.2 liter turbo, even in 1980. Yeah, in a car as light as this, that makes for really bad weight distribution, especially with the fact that it's front-wheel drive. Yeah, all it does is let you hold gears, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do get the use, but I was just making sure that it doesn't actually... I'm so sorry, but 2.2 turbo and single wide cam for just 115 horsepower is not good. Yeah, it's like... You can do better. But this should be fairly economical, at least, I think. There's nothing wrong with the engine tuning necessarily. Like the torque curve and power curve are fine. It just could probably use a little bit more. It's front-wheel drive with an open diff and 63% of the weight is on the front, so no prizes for guessing whether this is gonna understeer or oversteer. Especially on the hard long life road tires. 2 piston solid discs on the front, drums on the rear. No under tray, 5 seats. Basic interior, no entertainment. So this is a really cheap car with a not so cheap engine for the time actually. Has tons of roll angle. Yeah, it's not that economical actually, yeah. So the engine is really the weak point of this car, I feel like. It's 1980. Yeah, true. I mean, the economy isn't awful for the time. It's just not good either. Okay, it's cheap. But at the same time, I feel like if you went for like a 1.6 and go to like 100 horsepower, it would most likely be every bit as quick. And it would be more economical, it would be lighter, therefore it would handle better and understeer less. And it would be cheaper because less material. That's the part I don't understand. Why does it have to be 2.2 liters? If you're not going for power, that is. Most American style cars would be doing like half that fuel economy. Yeah, I mean, only a European would go 2.2 liters is too big. For an eco engine, it is like. And I did everything to not make it look like an E80. Next up is the PC75 Chaser. Okay, it's a 10-minute build, don't judge, okay. Meanwhile, in America, my 6.7 liter V8 makes 110 horsepower. Yep. You've got an 8.4 liter V12 in the good old USA. Don't you mean the Vipers engine, which is actually a V10? Ooh, 1975, 5.5 liter V8. making 527.5 horsepower. Okay. This is also a rear-wheel drive with a light truck monocoque. Is that intentional? The engine tuning is really good, by the way. Like, you get a lot of power from this 5.5 liter. It's a police car, it's gonna get crashed. Ah, I see. How do you make a dual tone color? On some bodies, you can go to paint here. You can choose the primary color and the secondary color, and that's how you make a two-tone paint. High-speed patrol or high 420 speed patrol. That is blazing high speed. Longitudinal rear-wheel drive with a manual gearbox, 5-speed, well, yeah, it's a 5-speed manual with an automatic locker. Perfect answer. Yeah. First gear goes to over 100 kilometers an hour. It's got semi-slick tires, so this is like a race version of the car, isn't it? It has no torque. I feel like it should be okay. 275s all around, 19-inch alloy rims. Oh, it's a highway chaser, okay. Light truck frame is a great middle ground between ladder and mono. Basically, it's half. Huh. Okay. Driving this car is a death wish. I love it. Vented discs all around, actually. Very, very big vented discs as well. And then we have a fully clad under tray. Lots of downforce. 5 seats, standard interior and entertainment. Hydraulic power steering, standard safety. Standard springs. Very conservative amounts of camber, actually. The front end could use something down here, I feel like. Yeah, overall the design is a little bit on the simple side, but it's actually pretty good. I can confirm it. 17 psi tires and still spun on every corner. That's 5 lips, okay? If you look at stats on the selection page, light truck mono is just mono, but cheaper. Sure, there's more to it than that, but it makes it appealing. Look at the arrow. Yeah. Looks nice. I can't wait to see it crash. Next up is the Patrol version, which has the same... Actually, not the same engine. Haven't tested the Patrol version, no idea how it's gonna handle. Okay, we'll figure it out. Okay, so this is a much tamer version of the engine, 172 horsepower. And the engine is also smaller. Much more low to mid RPM heavy. So yeah, 30 cam profile. Single, yeah, it's fuel injected actually. Yeah, the fuel injection definitely is a very expensive choice in 1975. Probably not the best idea in my opinion for this engine particularly. Got a 4-speed auto. 0 to 100 is 9.5 seconds here. 235mm hard long life road tires all around. And we've got vented discs front and rear. If this and the previous car had sex with will the babies be full white or full black? I think they'll look like zebras, won't they? Off-road skid tray. Four seats. White, it's the police. Basic interior and radio. Hydraulic power steering, advanced 70 safety. Progressive springs. Alright, get out the Punnett squares. Okay, no, this would be more like a regular cop car, right? Like a regular patrol car. It's right there in the name. So this, I'm probably gonna test this in the city rather than on the racetrack. In Italy, the police actually has there is one police Lamborghini Gallardo as well. I know that they actually did a report on that particular Lamborghini for a German car magazine, and well, obviously with a Gallardo, you can chase pretty much anything. Like unless the suspect drives something like you know, drive something like an Aventador or a Bugatti. Other than that, you can chase pretty much anything. Without going into the details, our police department has a Charger Hellcat. Okay. That's also pretty cool. You can chase anything unless they drive into a parking garage. Yeah. I spotted a Polizia Lamborghini Huracan 2 weeks ago. Yeah, okay, they might have upgraded it because that report was done like, I don't know, 6 years ago before the Huracan existed. So they may have more than one of them by now. This is a funny little car. It's got a 2.1 liter turbocharged inline 4 that makes 462 horsepower. Let's see who this is by, actually. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's your 10-minute build. So this is all-wheel drive, which is a good thing with this much power on this little weight. The engine is super laggy. Extremely laggy. I like the color scheme, yeah, so do I. This is a 5-valve per cylinder setup as well. So yeah, not saving on the engine cost. 3 bars of boost. I bet you that you can't probably even use all of that. Like, let's see what the actual max boost is. Yeah, 1.23 bars. It doesn't use more than that. So you can reduce this down to like 1.5 bars or something like that. And you'll have a lot more octane left to play with. Revs to 10k. Those cars from the police, at least in Italy, are used for organs transportation for emergencies. Yeah, that's a good use. Like, organ transportation, you don't need a particularly large car, right? And so it's much better if you have a very, very fast car. Because, you know, in those situations, every second counts. And if you're doing 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in, you know, 3 seconds or below, then, you know, you're not gonna go much faster, right? Like, you can't really go much faster than that. Realistically, like in a real world scenario. Sure, if you're on a racetrack or a drag strip, you can twin turbo the same car and do it in like 2.1 seconds or whatever, but for the most part, with the fact that obviously the Huracan and the Gallardo are both all-wheel drive, it's much easier to get close to the manufacturer's claimed numbers in the real world. And they're just a lot more consistent. The performance is much easier to get to because they're all-wheel drive. Not once in the engine editor have I ever changed the middle graph. I never realized you could. Yep. 40-60 power split. Sports tires, 245s on the front, 295s on the rear. This was by... Oh yeah, okay. Forgot already. The carbon fiber rims, 13-inch only. Yeah, but the tires aren't really that big, so it's suitable. Carbon brakes as I expected. Good amount of rear downforce, a little bit of front downforce as well. 2 sport seats, no entertainment, because you know, if you're not entertained by the performance of this thing, then it's not the right car for you anyway. Advanced safety is kind of an interesting choice here. Active sport springs and semi-active dampers. And actually higher roll angle than I was expecting here. You can probably lower this thing some more. So this is going to be an interesting one. Meme machine. Love that. You guys see the Lancia Delta Futurista? I did not actually. Let me check it out real quick. Ah. Looks very much like the old one. Like the 80s one, the iconic Lancia Delta. Well, it goes through the fenders, that's why it's higher. Yeah, yeah. Obviously. And then there's the totally accurate lawnmower simulator. Which was, I think, by Sedan 57 Chevy. Yep. Okay, the iconic one, but in modern tech. Yeah, I like that approach. So this is a 4.1 liter, no, wait, 412cc and then 4. I was gonna say, 412cc inline 4, 21 horsepower, 446 kilograms. Reasonable power and torque curve, of course. Steel monocoque and panels. Uh, 165mm tires on the front, 175s on the rear. 4-speed auto. Not quite sure what that gearing is. Probably... It probably adjust that a little bit to make it actually work. Crossplane tires on 10-inch steel rims. The brake power is actually more than enough. The braking distance is actually pretty good. It's got an off-road skid tray, obviously. Basic interior, 1 seat, no entertainment, basic 80s safety. Stand springs, twin tip dampers, passive sway bars. Everyone knows the gas cap is under the hood. Immersion ruined. It's an attempt to replicate the fact that most lawnmowers are a CVT rather than a true auto. Okay. Best part of that car is the high beams are labeled as a Levati. Get out of my way. Yeah. Now the lawnmower my family had, you had a gas cap on one side and a cup holder on the opposite side. That's pretty cool, actually. These come on the body itself, don't they? The pedals. Still waiting for that Forium powered lawnmower. The pedals are body included. Okay. What's funny is this has 1.5 drivability, 0 sportiness, 0 comfort, 2.6 prestige, 7.6 safety. Like, the base stats of this thing are so low. I think that's the lowest I've ever seen on any car. But it will like actually work. In BeamNG, I'm pretty sure. And it's not gonna just not move at all. Stats are so low you'd think it's a lawnmower. The stats are lower than the blades are to the ground. We had an old captain and he had to lift the hood to access the tank. The one my family had, I used to hot rod it around our property. Might have bent the front axle jumping it. Yep, that might happen. Avance Galope is the last car we're going to be looking at today, which is by Sebeseg. It's a 2019 rally car, actually. Oh, this is an interesting looking front end. Very unique. I like the color too. The rear end is pretty cool as well. Yeah, the wing of the integrated third brake light. And there's more brake lights down here and down here. Looks Asian, yeah. I think so too. It's just a trim with all-wheel drive. Ah, I see. Yeah. This whole... The rear end looks pretty damn good. Like, I don't know if I'm also gonna review the Crover because not because it's sent in too late, but because we already have like, what, 15 cars or so to review in Beam today, so it's gonna be a long evening anyway. Whoa, that's a... it's a 2.6 liter in N4, that's why the turbo spools up so early. That's a really, like, good torque curve for a turbo engine. 1.13 bar, that should be enough. 7900 RPM rev limit. Trust me, you will not regret the Crower. It's probably... It's probably a lawnmower, isn't it? Like... It's a 7-speed dual clutch, electric diff. 55% of the power goes to the front. Yeah, he's driving 15 cars, yeah. Nickelback, a rock star. I mean, we can speed through a lawnmower review, obviously, it's not that bad. We got 20-inch alloy rims, only two 20mm tires on this one. Wait, is this is this your car for the Bashar Nasri challenge? Are you participating in that? Nah, then more power would go to the rear end, right? No, okay. 82.8 drivability. That's among the highest I've ever seen. It's not the highest I've ever seen, but it's up there. Well, the guy whose name I always pronounce wrongly, but he's another automation YouTuber who does community challenges quite frequently. You can check him out. I'm actually gonna post you the link to his channel here. I don't know if he's ever done the same for me, because I don't know if he's yeah. I don't know if he's ever really noticed me or my channel or given me a shout out. I've done it for him a couple of times. I have one more car for you. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna cut it here. Like we're not even done with all the reviews and automation just yet. This car is actually very economical too. Good job. No, he doesn't, and probably won't. I liked him, but he screwed me over. I mean, he's also he makes good videos, but I feel like he's kind of he's a little, what's the word? I don't want to say selfish, but yeah, I can think of the pretentious, yeah, but rude towards others. Yeah, he can be rude too, yeah. The idea for it was like a Lancer Evo BMW freezers. Yeah, I can totally see that. He has a high ego and thinks its words are subprimed over others. Never seen him. Well, I linked his channel a minute ago. I like this design, man, with the blower. with the very angry front end, the flames. This is and the huge rear wing. Like this is exactly what you're. This is the sort of stuff where like you're showing off what you got on this one. Obviously, you do have a lot of power for a lawnmower. It has to be said. 205 horsepower. Surprisingly, this weighs 849 kilograms. Um, like that's actually considering the other weight of the lawnmowers that we've seen. This is actually, isn't this the heaviest, or was the other one with 700 horsepower just barely heavier? I don't remember, but this will be competing against my dear Rari. Yeah, when it comes to who flips over first, I guess. Look at that steering curve. I've never had this happen before where it doesn't oversteer or understeer at the end. Never seen that before. Lots of torque. Lots of torque right here, then it drops off sharply. Revs to 8200 RPM, okay. It's a 1.3 liter inline-5 actually, turbo. Okay. What tires is this on? 215s up front, 230s on the rear. Sports tires, okay. Power split, 2080. So with an electric diff as well, so this is gonna drift quite easily, but we'll see if it can actually hold it together. Like, I don't know if this is gonna be drivable, but we'll see a little bit later, I guess. Lawn Mogini. Yeah. Palani. If the suspension doesn't rip out, yeah. The lawnmower that actively tries to kill people. Okay, we got everything for now. Let's head over to BeamNG. Oh, come on. Having my controller. We need some elevator music. Oh, I see that some of you guys have actually commented on some of the videos on Twitch now. Can you tell me, like, and test this lawnmower after mine, even if it shouldn't be the last one. I would like to see how they compare. Yeah, we'll compare them side by side. Can you guys let me know how is the Twitch comment section for US viewers compared to the YouTube comment section? Is it easy to use? Is it, does it feel right? If that makes any sense. It's okay. It's good. Okay. You know what else is good? The handling of this car. I was thinking that this might understeer quite a bit because most of the power goes to the front, but it it turns in very, very well actually. It doesn't power oversteer at all. Coming out of the corner, that was me going into the corner too fast. But at the same time, this feels very sporty and quite. The engine feels quite fruity as well. Just don't brake and turn hard, it will spin in my experience, okay? Very good handling car. Yeah, I like this a lot. Going through that second part of the chicane at 74 kilometers an hour, that's pretty damn impressive. Let's try this actually. Went in a little bit too hard. Like I started doing that a little bit too late. There I started way too early. Okay, I gotta get the timings right with this, but it can definitely do that sort of stuff. Does it lift at higher speeds? No, it doesn't. But yeah, very good car there. I really like it. That last one was obviously on me. And I apologize, but we had this yesterday, I think. I should really delete the cars after each day. Oh yeah, the M5, the turbocharged one. Yep, that's... Does it by any chance have an electric diff, this one? Because the electric diffs in BeamNG are almost uncontrollable. With rear drive anyway. Especially if you have, what is this, 740 horsepower or something like that? Okay, and there, when I actually tried to use the torque to get it sliding, it didn't. Well, with River... Oh yeah, there I was looking at chat, that was my mistake, but with River Drive I found that an electric diff makes it completely undrivable in Beam, like... Okay. Let's go around once again. It just spins way too much. So what do you suggest for River Drive viscous limited slip diff? Oh, I was looking at chat once again. Man, I should stop that when driving a car like this. Don't look at chat and drive. We've had this discussion before. Yeah. Um. Anyway, let's check this out. Well, you definitely shouldn't while driving mine. Don't look at chat and drive. Uh, where are we? Did Beam freeze? Uh, okay. What the fuck? Um, let's reload. Let's reload the level. Yeah. Well, just spawned under the world once again. So maybe the car is bugged in Beam? Try that. Yeah, that works. I skipped the yellow M3. Let's do it after this one then. You missed my lawnmower. I didn't. I'm gonna do all the lawnmowers all in a row. At the end of everything else. So this is the front wheel drive with the diff. With the diff, this handles very well. There's no understeer. Very big rims though, and this was like 1982 or something. So aesthetically, I don't like it as much, and as far as like the visual design choices go, but from how it drives, it's actually pretty good. This car feels more like 2002. I don't know. I wouldn't say 2002. I'd go with maybe like 91, but certainly not 80s, my opinion. Except for the fact that it has no ABS, but even in like 91, ABS wasn't standard on all cars yet. Like, I know that for a fact because I had a 1996 Golf that didn't have ABS either. So I get it. It was an optional extra for the Golf Mark III here at least, and therefore mine didn't have it because well the first owner didn't want it. Drives well, this one. Just not very 1982 as aesthetics, but again, I think we said that this was a sort of a newer player, wasn't it? So good job for that. Good job. No understeer on this one so far. Except there, I guess. Yep. I mean, the inline sixes from automation in BeamNG always sound really good. It uses the S54 B32. It's not that accurate of a replica, though, I have to say. Like, the torque curve is off, the bore and stroke ratio is off. The actual torque figure is also not correct, but when we had no Porsches, I'm going to do one. Okay. The arrow was just late on the brakes, I guess. I might actually also recreate the M5 E39 engine rather than the 540i's engine, depending on... You know, I'm gonna test my car with the 4.4 liter engine first, and if it doesn't need extra torque, I'm gonna recreate the M5 engine instead. Why is this NA and the M10 turbo? I don't know what you mean with that question. M5 V10 didn't export correctly to Discord. M3 should have an inline 6 turbo. The new one does, but this uses the engine from the E46 M3, which was naturally aspirated. Yep. It's the old M3. My favorite M3, by the way, the E46. This is also a 3.2 as opposed to a 3 liter. Like the new one has a 3 liter. This is still a 3.2. In 2003, didn't the E90 come out in 2006? Yeah. Yeah, the E90 had the V8, of course. And that V8 that made it into the E92 M3 was very, very nearly identical to the M5 E60 V10, just with 2 less cylinders. It was largely based on that engine, which is why it also had a lot of problems, unfortunately. What else did we have today? The Lebelge Automne. Do you know Markettino? Yes, I do. I wish I had more time to watch more of his videos, but I do know him. Not in person, but, well, I know his channel. His M3 sounds insane. Which M3 does he have? Well, this is very twitchy, this little thing. I started to make videos mainly in Italian, and it's quite a shame, yeah? Straight pipe D90, okay. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of a German BMW tuner, like an actual tuning company called G-Power. The G-Power M5 V10 is legendary, dude. Like there's a video of a German car magazine called Grip, which have tested the G-Power M6 V10 way back in the day when it was new, and it is twin supercharged with 800 horsepower, and get this, it'll do over 370 kilometers an hour. And that also goes for the M5 version that they made, by the way, with 800 horsepower. It does 370 kilometers an hour in a freaking 5-seater sedan. That's nuts. Automation needs superchargers, absolutely. I'm with you on that one. This car, by the way, oversteers quite a lot. Trying to keep it in check, but okay, here it didn't do it. But also, what I was gonna get at, what the one car that many of you who do know the M5 G-Power, you might not know that they also made an M3 E90 with a dual supercharger kit. That makes like 630 horsepower, but man, it sounds so good. One cool addition could also be electric engines. Absolutely correct, but I think that would be way too much work for them to really implement that. A couple of weeks ago, a bike rider did 380 on the autobahn and crashed. Body parts flew everywhere. Yeah, man. Like, you gotta be aware of the risk before you do something like that. Like, an autobahn is still a public road, and terrible things can happen. In a car, it's super deadly, let alone a bike. Yeah. But that, if you guys don't know the the G Power M3E92, look it up. It's awesome. I love it. If you stay around 250, it's safe, of course, because that's what all cars are limited to. This actually doesn't drive half bad. I'll check it now before I forget. Good choice. Do you know the John Olsen RS6? I don't know that John Olsen RS6. No, I don't. With it from factory, a tune may remove that limit. Yeah, yeah. I've seen a lot of tuned RS6s with the V10 engine, but I don't remember seeing the John Olsen one. Got stolen in the Netherlands and put in fire in a tunnel. Oh, damn. Some people stole it and burned it. It was a 1,000 horsepower full custom body kit. Damn. Was it like the... I'm gonna go sleep. Have a great evening. Okay. Have a good night. See you next time. Bye bye. But was it like the V10 RS6 or was it the new one with the V8 twin turbo? Okay, big understeer there, but apart from that, this van actually drove pretty well. Do we have anything else before we get to the lawnmowers? Yes, we do. Oh, the newer one. Okay. Transitional oversteer. This car is very quiet indeed, yeah. If you search for the RS6, search for the DTM one. There's also like an... I saw an RS6 estate from Apt. No, not Apt, from OCT tuning. It had like 685 horsepower, which is not the craziest tune by any means for that engine. But you know, still pretty quick, of course. And that looked completely like a stock RS6, which looks like any other A6 estate, besides, you know, some slightly bigger wheels or something like that and the quad exhaust. That is like the ultimate sleeper, dude. So yeah, the OCT RS6. E61 M5 better. Yeah, yeah. But the M5 does have a couple of shall we say optical quirks that make it distinct from the regular 5 series. Front grille on the RS6 is completely different from the A6. I mean the last gen RS6 though, the one with the V10. It looked like a regular A6, like completely normal. But then you step on the throttle and there's 685 horsepower. Oh, that one, yeah. Yeah, that was like the ultimate sleeper. uh, do we have? Yeah, there's the VDB that we still need to drive. This like bumps around quite a lot when you make some steering inputs. I remember my dad one day came out with that car. It was my boss car, and I didn't expect anything. I was 12. Then he stepped on the accelerator, and OMG. I think it was also chip tuned. Yeah, fair enough. Like, that was the. Like, with that engine, with that V10 twin turbo from Audi, a simple chip tuning can give you so much extra power. Like, it comes with. What is it? Like, 580 horsepower stock. A simple chip tune can take you way above 600, probably more like 650 or so. That's how boys become, man. That's how boys become men, yeah. Twin turbo V10, yeah. Yeah, like I said, a simple chip tune does so much to that engine. It's unreal the amount of value you get. Yep, basically the Ganados engine with turbos from stock. Exactly. And also slightly smaller in capacity. Yeah, but then again, you could fit an aftermarket exhaust system and make it sound better. Whereas with the Gallardo, of course, you did not need aftermarket exhaust at all. New V8 sounds epic. Yeah, it does sound pretty good, but as far as twin turbo V8s go, I believe nobody does the sound better than AMG at the moment. This car doesn't understeer as much as I expected it to, honestly. Okay, here it did, but apart from that, it actually did fairly well for most of the course. Do we have anything else? Yeah, these two cars still, I think. I think Audi is better. Mercedes was epic with the 6.3, but then downsizing kicked in. I think they still sound really good, though. I didn't realize in automation that this is actually a flat plane V8. Whoa. There the diff kicks in, huh? Really, the AMG V8 sound artificial to you? I think the BMW V8s, the BMW twin turbo V8 sound pretty artificial. He's spinning me around. Hey guys, hey Reaper 5921, how's it going? Many similar pops. Well, I do think that the Audi V8 on the RS6 sounds good. No questions asked. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Didn't think it would do that in high speeds. Anyway, that isn't naturally aspirated and isn't carbureted, and American sounds artificial. Now, here's a totally unbiased opinion for you. Yeah, I'll just call you a Reaper. Well, enjoy the sounds while you can. I'm surrounded by Teslas. Yeah, that's true, man. Everything now is tuned to sound good using computers. The old engines sounded the way they did out of pure. Well, that's the way it is. Okay. I mean, whoa. With the diff, all this car wants to do is oversteer, honestly. So every V8 which produces more than 200 horsepower sounds artificial. I mean, ever heard of like pony cars, muscle cars in the 1960s? Those made like 3, 4, or sometimes even 500 horsepower. Yeah. Yeah, this car is kind of scary, actually. I assume that this one will be a lot tamer. Yeah, a lot slower too, but a lot more understeer as well. Best sound ever was the Buso V6. I mean, yeah, I do feel you on that one. Personally, I also really love the sound of the M50 inline six from BMW, like the old straight six from like the E30 and other BMWs of the time. I felt that sounded really good. If I'm mostly exaggerating. All right, Reaper. Thanks for following. It's been good having you here. You're a bit of a BMW fan, right? Oh, really? I mean, of course I am. I don't really like their most recent cars that much, except for the M2. But apart from that, except for, apart from that, I don't agree with how they built their cars in the most recent couple of years. I love the older ones though. That's why I never see you using an indicator in Beam. I mean, I gotta give you that. That's a good BMW reference right there. But the two reasons I never use indicators in Beam is one, I don't have um, I don't have a hotkey button assigned to the indicators on my controller because it just doesn't have enough buttons for that to become relevant. And two, who am I indicating for? There's no traffic. This car is a lot tamer than the other version of it we drove earlier, and it understeers quite a lot. I had to make that joke. I know, yeah. If if it was ever fitting, then when we were talking about BMWs, right? Here's the Super Mini, I guess. It it is pretty fast and nimble as you would probably expect, of course. Doesn't have a whole lot of understeer or oversteer. I like it. But what don't you like about new BMW's new 5 Series is great? I get that it's a better car than ever before. You know, technologically speaking, you know, it's more powerful, more more economical and whatnot. But for one, I don't like the styling on the newer cars as much as on the older ones. And for two, I don't like the fact that BMW has basically become more and more in line with what Mercedes does, and they're just not as good as Mercedes at it. As like they're since they're both premium brands. I feel like BMW at some point felt the need to also go with a whole lot more luxury and tech and a lot more comfort focused because the average BMW buyer doesn't go to a track anyway. And I don't know. Back in the day, in like the 90s and early 2000s, you had the E36, the E46. Those had naturally aspirated inline sixes, like ranging from 2 liters to basically 3 liters in the E46, and I'm talking non-M versions. And you could pick up an inline six for a pretty good price with 150 horsepower. It wasn't the most economical car you can get, obviously, but it wasn't like super thirsty either. It was like an entry level inline six. So if you didn't have the big money, you could still get all the pleasure from having an inline six in your car. You can't do that anymore unless you buy like a 340i or whatever it's called now with 340 horsepower, and insurance on that car is obviously through the roof. So now you get a 320i with like, what is it, a 1.6 liter? It's just not. That's just not. You know. it's just not a proper 3 Series anymore to me. Yes, I know it's more powerful, it's more economical, it's quicker, whatever, but it doesn't have the same character as the old cars used to have. If you want fun, you buy a 2 Series. Yeah, okay, but 320i is 2 liter? Not anymore, is it? Anyway, I think now it's time for the lawnmowers. Let's get into it with the 20 horsepower one. Well, it works. And for a lawnmower, it's pretty damn quick. Like, comparing this to an actual real lawnmower, this is pretty damn quick. It does dip the nose quite heavily under braking. It actually doesn't drive too badly. It's extremely eager. Because it only weighs 400 something kilograms as well, so you know what, this actually drives well. I wasn't expecting to say that, but you know, it's pretty good. It goes around this corner at about the same speed as any other car, which is impressive considering that, you know, it's not really a normal car. Obviously here it's lacking a little bit, but with only 20 horsepower, who was expecting more than that? By the way, full I'm full throttle. The you know, throttle indication bar in the bottom left is I don't know why, but it's kind of inaccurate right now. I'm fully pressing the right trigger as far as it goes. Sometimes it goes up to 100% apparently. You know what? I don't know. Let's try and see if we can drive this off-road a little bit. At least, let's take some shortcuts with this, because it's a lawnmower after all. It's supposed to go over the lawns. Also, one more thing I don't like about the newer BMWs is that, like any other German car, they're getting bigger and bigger with every generation. Like the new 3 Series now is actually as big in physical dimensions as a 5 Series used to be like 15 or so years ago. And I don't know, it's just, I don't like that. Like, keep with the dimensions. Let the 3 Series be a 3 Series, okay? A 3 Series is supposed to be like light, you know, small, light, nimble. You know, it's more of a dynamic compact sedan, right? For the 5 Series, it's good to be big. Yeah, okay. But for the 3 Series, it should stay small and, you know, light. And while they're keeping the weights down somewhat by using... Okay. By using more expensive materials every generation, that makes the whole car more expensive. Yeah, this isn't very drivable. And this is only the 200 horsepower lawnmower we have. We have a 700 horsepower lawnmower lined up as well still. And that's gonna have 3.5 times as much power as this. Like, I was gentle with the steering input there, and it just rolls over. Let's try and go through that corner at all. Now it has variable steering, so it feels smaller than it is. Okay, but still. Like, all that tech that you have to add in order to compensate for something that you could have just accomplished naturally, you know what I mean? Like, you're making it bigger because you have to fit, you know, a quadrillion gadgets on the inside, which takes up all the space in the engine bay, which is also why the engines are getting smaller and smaller, aside from the downsizing trend. And because you're making the car bigger and bigger, you still try to keep it light because it's a 3 Series, so you use more expensive materials, right? And you add stuff like rear wheel steering so that it feels smaller than it actually is. Like, all of that adds so much to the costs that I feel like the character of the car just gets completely compromised. It's not the same anymore. Okay, yeah. This is I really tried. This isn't drivable on a track. We can take this to the drag strip though. I hope mine works. Ironically, it's the exact same thing that happened in the US. Didn't American cars get smaller and smaller over time? Recently, I mean. Well, I guess the Mustang grew again. Bigger cars equals to more space inside. That is true. But my argument would be, you know, an E36 had enough space inside back then. So what is it that makes people require more space right now? Are people getting more obese? Or, I don't know, do they just use... Well, now you buy an M2. Yeah, I guess so, but... Okay, even here this doesn't work. That was the tiniest of steering inputs. More space is more comfortable. I mean, yeah, I get that, but then again, just buy a 5 Series, right? Uh... Okay, this doesn't work. Let's try and spawn somewhere else, like here. Nope, the tires just don't spawn properly. Okay, this doesn't work. This straight up does not work. Downsizing brought car sizes down for the most part, with the exception of a handful. The thing about larger cars is that they're more prestigious and imposing. Yeah. A larger car also does better in safety testing. Can you go to animation and make smaller wheels? I guess I can. The problem here is actually the suspension. What was I gonna? Yeah, I was gonna put up this screen real quick. It's too low, isn't it? It's the highest I could get with push rods. Okay. Where do we have the Diorari? There it is. Okay. Let's use like multi-link instead. It's the next best thing. Actually improved drivability and spoiliness a lot. Look at that. I guess that's why it had zero drivability. So I improved your car actually by doing this. Okay, yeah. Let's put some more ground clearance as well. OV export. The tires have blown. Wait, did they were fine here? How do they not blow here? I guess the wheels are. I guess the rims are too big. That's where we were at before. But what if we do this? The tires blow, huh? Put some more rear downforce. More than that. Holy shit. Probably have to reduce the wheel size, right? No? I think we should go with less downforce. No? That? Huh. Tires have blown out. Try increasing tire width and rims. Oh, you need to make bigger rims? That was like 345s, I think, right? I think this doesn't work. Ah, now it does. Okay. Let's export this then. Okay, give this another shot. If this thing actually works in Beam, it's gonna take off. I can guarantee. It's gonna flip over. Wait, did I export the car? The new one? I think yeah, I did. Hope different wheels won't affect oversteering too much. I think we got bigger problems with this car. For example, even getting to a corner at all. Got to switch to BeamNG. Or even starting, yeah. Like at this point, I think it's too early to concern ourselves with understeer or oversteer. Does it even work? Nope, still doesn't work. I guess the rear axle just can't hold this wide of a tire. Maybe you have to have solid axles. Maybe you have to have less wide tires. Anyway, I think I'm gonna call the stream here for today. Thank you guys for hanging out, and hope to see you guys on the stream next week again. Until then, have a good time. See you next week. Bye bye.